Hey there! Maybe you found this channel because you have soil that looks like that, and you want a garden that looks like that. You've come to the right place. And maybe you want to have the most perfect garden there's ever been, and you've already got it picked out, and you want it to look like this. But you're dealing with this and this. You can't get in the soil. Right, there's a lot of ugly soils out there, and I'm here to help you today with just soils that are high pH, and usually they're clay. So that's what we're addressing today, is clay soils, and how do we get them to be something that is fun to grow in, and plants grow, and we're not dealing with a whole bunch of other things. Now let me ask you one thing. What's super important to you? In fact, what is the most important thing to you right now? You're like me. I said my son, my family, my ba. Guess what? If I stop breathing for even a few minutes, air is the most important thing to me. Air is. It's more important than food or water or any of the other things you could have listed. It's the most important thing. It is also the most important thing when it comes to your soil. Do you think the soil, look at it, do you think it has any air in it? Not enough. All right, how much do we need? We need to have the pie chart here. All right, that's what we need. We've got to have that much. If we don't, guess what? Nothing's going to be happy in the garden, including you. So I've come across a lot of gardeners that are like on the verge of quitting. And I'm like, no, don't quit. We need you. We need everybody gardening, as many people as we can have gardening and growing healthy food. So what makes them want to quit? What could possibly make them want to quit gardening? I'm telling you what, a soil that has a personality of this could get you there very, very fast, and you want to quit. So, today we're going to talk about addressing that. It's snowing outside, and last week it was 39 below zero Fahrenheit. This week, in fact, yesterday, it was 22 above Fahrenheit, and we had a rainstorm. And the roads are pure ice. Talk about weather swings, but today, because of those weather swings, I have some time to spend with you to help you with these soils. Number one thing, we need to get air into that soil. If it's clay, it needs to be flocculated. Yeah, isn't that a cool word? We need to flocculate that clay. Now, it doesn't matter if you're 8 to 80 and you want to learn this stuff, you can learn it. We have clay soils. They're microscopic, and they're like plates. And they stack like that. And that's what's happening in this soil. You have them stacking on top of each other, just laying flat on top of flat on top of flat, and pretty soon no water can come through it. And in fact, that's what they make the bottoms of ponds out of. They can take bentonite clay and make the greatest pond on earth because no water's going through it, right? As long as it's not flocculated. To get it to flocculate, all we have to do is change. Soil is what kind of positive or negative? Negative. Good, it's negative. So we need to get a positive charge that will get it to stand up and then start flocculating. So when we add calcium, it's going to get the platelets to start going in all kinds of different directions, right? And that's called flocculating. So we want that to stand up, let air and water and roots and worms and microbes to flow through that soil, right? We want all that. So how we're going to get it? We're going to add some calcium to the soil to get it to flocculate. Now in our area, and I'm talking about eastern Montana, so just south of the Canadian border, just south of Saskatchewan, and we are a high semi-desert area with less than 12 inches of rainfall annually. Keeps shifting. We've went as low as 5.5. Crazy stuff, right? But we're still in an arid climate, and our soils have got a lot of salts in them. So our pH is super high, right? So that's one thing. The very first thing I'm going to ask you to do is figure out what is the pH of your soil. So the pH, and you don't have to be a chemist, you don't have to have done well in science or anything, but the pH, you need to find out, what is it? Is it somewhere's 6 to 7 is where we want to be, but if we go to 8, we're high, we go to 5, we're low, and we want to be somewhere's in here, but we're clear out here in Montana. That's where we're at. So we're going to address that by the right type of calcium that we're going to put in the soil to get it to flocculate. So we're going to use gypsum to do that. All right, so I think gypsum is a really cool product. And you may be thinking, why do we need to add calcium? Well, we're going to add calcium just to get the soil to flocculate. But we're also, calcium is a heavy element, and so it's dropping on soil profile all the time. And that's why you have deep-rooted plants, aka you call them weeds, that help pull that calcium back up the soil surface so it can be used by the plants and microbes. So we're going to put it on soil surface, and it's going to drop into the soil profile. So let's say I have a really either a nasty garden that's already like a parking lot, or I'm acquiring one that's like a parking lot, and you're like, okay, this is what you should be thinking about. We're going to put down, lay out your garden, figure out where is my growing rows, where is my walkways, and then you're going to add the gypsum. How much gypsum? I think it's 40 pounds to the 1,000 square foot. I'll get the metrics on the screen for you. That's how much we're going to put on in a year. So if I'm going to apply it right now or early in the spring, you put down half that much. And then we'll put in a little bit in the planting hole along with the plants, or in the soil mix. How are we going to get it out there? You want to get a little bit out there as often as you can, not every day. Just now at planting time, and then come fall, we're going to put it on again, because we want to get that clay to stop acting bad. Get it to flocculate, and then let the roots of the plant, the soil microbes, your worms, your microarthropods, all those guys to be able to work and do their job for you in that soil. So after we've laid out our beds, then distinguish your walkways, how wide you want those beds, all that stuff. You do that while it's cold. Do that now, so you know what you're trying to do. The walkways we're going to put, I'm going to suggest to you, especially the first year, put on wood chips. I like softwood. That's what we have here for our deciduous trees in our area, but you could use hardwood if you have it. It's fine. Deciduous trees I like better than the pine needle trees, but you got to do what you got to do. Whatever you have, right? You're going to be walking on it, and it's going to help feed soil microbes and your fungi. But you're just going to be get the ground covered. If I was to happen to visit your garden, I should not be able to tell what color your soil is. If I can see your soil, yikes, you're not doing what we need you to do. We've got to get that soil covered up. Think of the microbes. Itsy bitsy guys. They need some water, and they live in the soil. and they're tiny. They do not want a bunch of sun and heat beating down on bare soil. They don't want that. We want to have a mulch layer there, right? So we've got to get a mulch layer on top of the soil surface for those microbes to be able to be happy. If we don't, we're just baking them. They aren't going to work for us. Did I say somewhere in a video, I want the plants to work for me, not me work for the plants? In order to do that, we have to have happy microbes, because the microbes are going to do lots of that work for us. So we are going to take care of those microbes. We're going to keep that soil covered all the time. It's going to keep the soil cooler. Here in Montana, oh my gosh, when we go even at 90, 95 degrees, we can go up 100, 106 Fahrenheit. Nothing's wanting to live at that soil surface. All right, so that's a big problem. So we've got to keep it mulched. Now you got to say, oh, well, Patti, I can't put the shovel in the ground. It won't go in. All right, so all of you, including me, all of us in the world that's working with soil that humans have had anything to do with, have a compaction layer. All right, so if it was a plow that went through the soil, at the bottom of that plow where the shear of that steel is gliding along the earth, it makes a compacted layer. It's called a plow pan. If we use a rototiller, running way faster and harder and more aggressive and more heat on this plow pan, it's going to be that much harder. And say we could only do that at 4 inches, right? So we have this heavy compacted layer from the tiller. No matter what depth you had your tiller set, there's a plow pan there, right? And then there's the historic plow pan from when the homesteaders broke the prairie. In my situation, in your situation, it might have been you with the shovel, right? But wherever that depth was that we went to, that's all the further we can go, right? This clay or this gypsum is going to help flocculate those plow pans. If they're super, super bad, maybe you're going to have to do something to put some steel to it to address it. But I'm going to discourage you from tilling that. Now, why would I not want to till a clay soil? What happens when you put clay with water? It sticks to you, and then you can make pottery out of it. So we don't want to be mixing our soil in the garden with clay soil, because you are going to make something like this. We don't want that. Other people say, well, what if I just add sand? Isn't loam sand, silt, and clay? It is. But nature made that. And when humans try to make sand, silt, and clay, we usually have some organic matter in there. And that is a recipe for adobe. Adobe, you make adobe when you add sand to clay and add organic matter. So if you want your garden to look like this and act like this, add the sand. Mix it up with the tiller. Go for it. And you're going to be right back within a few weeks looking for, how do I get this clay to do what I want it to do? Because we can get the clay to act like loam, but we have to not be mixing it up, especially with sand. All right, so you may say, well, how do I test the pH? I don't know what my pH is. So you're going to just get you a test paper. You can get a pH test strip and figure out what my level is. And then you'll know. You could check, if you're here in the United States, you could check the soil web survey. Phenomenal tool. I'll tell you about almost anything you didn't know about soil. But if you're not, no big deal, right? It's you can call the extension agent, conservation districts. They can help you know if you got high or low pH. The difference would be if we're in a low pH, if we're in a low pH soil, we're going to add a different kind of calcium and not gypsum. We're going to add gypsum to high pH, and if you got low pH, this video isn't for you, it's for some other. So we got the beds laid out. I like to take a really good compost. I'm going to strain it into some clean water, and I use a paint strainer bag or a compost tea bag to strain those. You're straining off the microbes and the humics and the fulvics off that compost and get it into the bucket of water. And then you're going to put it in a watering can. Just simple, easy things, right? Pour it out onto the soil where your beds are going to go. Now, what that is doing is putting some microbes out there. And I'm going to add in a little bit of worm castings, a little bit of kelp, a little bit of humic acid if you got it. And those are going to, you could put in a tiny bit of milk or sugar or molasses. All of those are feeding microbes. In fact, all those products I just mentioned, except for the kelp, is feeding the bacteria, which everybody else kind of feeds off of. They're kind of like the beginning of the food web. We have to have the bacteria to hold up the whole system. So we're going to feed them and get them active and get them going. We're going to get them happy to be around, right? And we get them working we want them working year round. We got to get them started, right? So this is like an initial start. If you don't have good compost, you could buy some microbes. I'm not a salesperson or anything, but you could buy some, and I've bought these in the past. BioCoco from Advancing Eco Agriculture, but there's lots of them out there in the world to buy, right? It's just the soil microbes that we know will help us kickstart this system. That's what we're looking for. So you put your compost extract and your microbes out onto your beds. You can put it on the walkways too, because we just want more microbes. Lots of microbes. You can put it out wherever, but you definitely want it on your growing beds. Then you're going to put your mulch on there, get it covered up. Usually I found if I wet those leaves, I put the leaves out, and I like using alfalfa hay. Try to get clean alfalfa hay. So second and third cut in alfalfa hay is like the bomb because there's no weeds in it. Clean, I mean not using glyphosate or something on the alfalfa. And free of weeds, that's what clean means. No insecticides on the alfalfa. Why would we put an insecticide on something when we're trying to grow microbes? We don't want any of that stuff. So put that out for mulch, and then I find if I get it wet, just run the sprinkler overhead on top of it. It will get those fungi and microbes gluing themselves to that material, and they'll hold it in place pretty good for you for the season. If you're in a super windy area, there's a whole nother problem, right? These are context in the regenerative ag principles. There's a video that you could watch on that. It's super important that we know those. So if it's really, really windy, I love gardening on the east side of the buildings, east side of the trees, east side of everything in Montana, because that west sun is so harsh and hard and hot. And we have a predominant west wind. So you want to think about where you're going to put the garden if you have a choice. If you have no choice, you could put up a snow fence until you can get a better situation going. But in a lot of our gardens that I recommend people to use, and we're putting in branching sunflowers on that to block the sun. Not the sun, the wind. Block the wind. Right, I think we're getting it. Do you have any questions? If you have questions, you can put them in the comments below. I would love to thank my sponsors. Pat yourselves on the back. You are wonderful, and I appreciate you highly. Right, so my goal is that you don't quit gardening, and you can start having fun gardening. And if you're in an area that has high pH and clay soils, I hope I helped you. We'll see you soon. Oh yeah, the subscribers that know to stick around. Be sure to ask me anything in the comments that you need help with. If you can't find soil microbes, or if you don't know what to do, you can this liquid feed. Great stuff. You want to have this ordered and in stock before you start planting this spring. All right, grow healthy, and I hope much happier after this video. Let's bust that clay. Flocculate with more and more microbes. Keep your microbes happy.